Good morning, folks. Welcome to Mark's Business Check-In. We're live every weekday at 7:30 a.m. So thanks very much for joining me this morning. We really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. We're just going live on a few other channels now at the moment as well. We're going live on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and also we are live on making sure that's right. Yeah, we're live also on as a TikTok. So good morning to everybody. Welcome. And we're just saying there's a huge difference mornings where you can see now how much brighter it's getting. I've been doing this show since the 6th of January and at 7:30 a.m. on the weekdays. And when I started off the show, it was very dark outside, and now it's actually getting bright at 7:30. So the mornings are getting brighter, the evenings are getting longer, which should only mean one thing: the summer is on the way. And with the summer, hopefully sunshine. And just to give you, let you know that it's 6 degrees here in Dublin, 7 degrees in London, and 6 degrees in Paris. This is not your weather forecast, but it is dry, it is bright out, and there's very little wind here in the Dublin studios, which is fantastic, which is brilliant. So I want to talk to you something about that. A lot of business leaders, a lot of entrepreneurs sometimes struggle with, and that's success on winning business. One of the biggest challenges on winning business is when you win it, is keeping the whole team motivated. I'll tell you what that means. When we bought, I remember when we bought the advertising agency, and we spent 8 months buying that agency and raising the money, getting the team together, learning about the business, all that type of stuff. But I always remember the morning after we bought the company, we paid £5 million for the company, going into the company's offices. And it was sort of like an anti-climax, because from their perspective, nothing really has changed. Sorry, my morning. Nothing has really changed. And I hope, folks, on TikTok, you can actually hear me. If someone can let me know that they can hear me, that the mic is working, I'd appreciate it. And so going in the morning after to the agency, it was very much an anti-climax. We paid £5 million for the business. We went in, and I was the first there in that morning before the rest of my new team were going to come in and join me. So we were in there, and you're wondering what to do. You're wondering, what will I do now? Now, there's a lot of work to do. We had a lot of embedding to do and all that type of stuff. But it is an anti-climax. And the same when you have a team. If anyone on the TikToks could let me know that they can hear me, I'd appreciate it on this new mic. It's the same when you win business. And when you have a team, like I remember in Indigo, when we won corporate business, or we were getting the team doing a competition maybe over 1 or 2 quarters, that the team members who got 100% or 150% of the target or 170% of the target were brought away somewhere for the weekend. And people are working very hard, winning all this new business and bringing all this new sales in, which is fantastic. But then after the event is done and people go back to normal, the reality is they don't go back to the normal level of sales because they now have a new benchmark on what they can achieve. But keeping the staff motivated and keeping your team motivated after a big win is a huge challenge for a lot of business owners. Because you all know that when you win a big contract, whether you're a one-man organization or a one-woman organization, or whether you have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 in your team or more, winning it, yes, is the be-all and end-all until you win it. Then when you don't win it, when the winning is over and you've won this contract, so you've won a new corporate client, it's worth 50 grand a year to you, 100 grand a year to you, it's worth £1 million to you, it's worth 100 million pounds to you, it's worth a lot of money to you. And you've just won this contract. And you bring your whole team out, if you have a team, maybe for a few drinks or for a meal, to congratulate them and say, well done, and like it was a fantastic job, everyone pulled together. It was fantastic. But the next morning, and here's the challenge, the next morning, you now have to service that client. You now have to deliver what you promised. You now have to deliver the goods. But more than that, the team were so focused on winning the business that you, as a business leader, now have to give them a new focus. You now have to take all that adrenaline they had, take all that confidence they had, take all that gung-ho-ness they had, and bring it into today, and keep them focused on the job at hand, and to make sure they actually now deliver what they promised that customer. So when that business is worth £1,000, £10,000, £100,000, or 100 million, you now have to go and make sure that you deliver on your promise, that your whole team delivers on that promise. And that is a big challenge, because there's two sides to this. One, you've won the business, so your team is feeling great. You're over the moon. And as I said, if you're one man or one woman organization, you're over the moon, you've won some new business. Absolutely fantastic. But when you've won the business and your excitement stops there, for the person who has given you the business, the excitement is only beginning, because they've now put all their trust in you, all their faith in you, because they've now handed over a portion of their business to you. So whether you're supplying them a new product, a new service, or whatever you're doing with them, that's the starting point for them. So they're going to demand an awful lot of your attention. They're going to demand an awful lot of your time. And on the other side, your team may be a bit tired. Your team's energy may be now blown. Maybe their energy levels have now dropped back to what it was before they won the business, because their energy levels were staying high because they were looking forward to winning this business and they were working hard to win the business. So there's two things to manage here. So you need it, as a business leader, you need to basically give yourself a kick in the backside and realize only part one of the job is done. Only part one of the job is done. Part two is now delivering on results, delivering what you said. Because as we all know in business, sometimes, even though we may have worked 1 month or 2 or 3 or 4 months tendering for a new piece of business, or chasing a new customer, or trying to win a customer over from somebody else, we all know no matter how long that takes, that's only one part of the equation. It really is. Because now that we've won that business, we now have to make sure we don't lose it. Because as easy, and you might say, well, 4 or 5 months is not easy, but it's still easy in the suppliers, in your customers' view. Because winning it, sometimes it's the easy part. Even though you put a massive amount of energy and a massive amount of time in it, winning that business is the easy part. Losing it is even easier. So you need to find a way that the next morning, after you bring your team out to celebrate the win, after you bring your team out for maybe a few drinks, or maybe you had something in the office and you congratulate them all on a fantastic win and a fantastic piece of new business, you now need, you as a manager, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, need to go in the next morning with the same energy levels, with the same enthusiasm. Because for you, the show must go on. And for you, there's another new client to win, more new business to win. There's customers to be looked after, customers to be serviced, products to be delivered, promises to be delivered, phone calls to be returned. Nothing has changed except you've won this nice piece of new business. And that's important that we all look at that. And that's important that you have a plan as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a leader of a team, that you have a plan for the day after. If you don't win the business, the plan is completely different. You're going to have to remotivate your team. You're going to have to get them focused on a new piece of business that you're going to try and win. That's a different challenge. Because now we have a team on the ground and you have to rebuild them back up again and you have to get them something new to focus on. That's a different challenge. The challenge when you win business is, as a business leader, you need to go in there the next day with this to motivate your staff to deliver on their promise, to deliver what they said they would. And that's a challenge for you, because many occasions I've been there, and you've won a big piece of new business, and the next day is an anticlimax. It's an anticlimax because in your head, you have the business. In your head, you've set out to do exactly what you wanted to do. Excuse me for a second. I drink my hot drink to keep my throat dry. You've done what you said you would do. So your head is telling you, well done, congratulations, you've won this business, well done. But the next day, like when I went into the advertising agency, the next day, after we paid £5 million for it, after we spent the whole day with all the signing hundreds and hundreds of pieces of paper, and having a lot of people around the table as we passed around pieces of paper to become new directors, retired other directors, all that type of stuff. That next morning, it suddenly hits you. You now own this business. It's your business now. I didn't have a plan, really, for the day after. I should have had a plan. I should have been in their office with a whole list of things ready to do. Like re-look at the book, talk to the staff, who's looking after what customers, what new business is in the pipeline, who's chasing money that's outstanding to us. I should have had a plan, but I didn't have a plan because my mind, my energy, my focus was only on buying the company and closing the sale. That's what my mind was on, nothing else. I didn't have a plan. And that's what the moment I knew I had to have a plan. Now, when we won business before that for Indigo and other companies, I always went in the next day, making sure we kept going the way we promised the customer. One of the first things I always did the next day after we won the business was to ring the customer and say, thanks so much for the win. Thanks so much for the business. I really do appreciate it. And I promise you, we will deliver as we said we would. And, excuse me, that always surprises me. The amount of people who, when they win some new business, they don't make a phone call to the person they won the business off. I don't mean an email. I don't mean a text. I don't mean a WhatsApp. I mean a real physical phone call. And to say to the person, thanks very much for the business. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Because it goes down a huge treat when you ring the owner of the business to let them know, one, you're thinking of them, two, you appreciate the business and the money they're now going to give you, and that three, you will look after them. I have a friend of mine who I've referred some clients to, and maybe it could be 3 or 4 or 5 months later that he wins the new client, but he's always rang me up, even for a very quick 1 or 2 minute phone call, and he'd say, Mark, so-and-so who you referred to me, we're doing stuff for them now. Thanks to the lead, I really appreciate it. And it's nice to think that he's remembering who referred the business on to him and who recommended him. Because I know when stuff comes down that he might think I can do, or he knows I can do, he'll refer business to me. That phone call is worth a lot of money and it's worth a lot of gratitude. It really is. So remember, when you do win business from somebody, you have a couple of things to do. One, you need to have a plan that when you win that new business, how you're going to keep your team motivated and focused on continuously to support that new client, because you don't want to lose the business, especially if it took you months to win it. Number two, the next morning after winning the business, you need to be ringing the customer to thank them for the business. That's important. That's really important. And three, make sure you have that plan. Make sure you have that plan for what you're going to deliver. And make sure all the systems are working to support that new customer. Whether it's account setup, whether it's marketing, whether it's social media, whatever it is, make sure everything is in order to deliver what you promised. because that's really important. Because I've been in businesses where someone has worked hard to win your business and to get your business, and they worked really hard. And then when you give them that business, just the sound of silence. And a few days later, you have to ring them and say, when are we kicking off? When are we starting? When are you going to start working for me? I've had that on 1 or 2 occasions where people have won business off me. And maybe a week later, I've heard nothing, not a diddle. And I've had to ring them and say, so when will I see my first product? When are you going to come in to me talk about my website? When are you going to come in to me and start putting that new service in-house? I've been there. And that's a hard one. That is a hard one. Right? So don't let that happen to you. Don't let customers ring you to say, you won my business. Hey, when are we kicking off? So be very conscious today that if you are chasing new business and you are chasing a new customer, that when you win the business, you have a plan for after that. That's important. That's really important. So thanks so much for joining me this morning, folks. It's Monday morning, if I haven't said it already, on the 9th of February. We've been doing this since the 6th of January, every weekday morning from 7:30 a.m. for about 20 minutes. We keep about 20 minutes because I know an awful lot of people have very busy lifestyles and very busy timetables. A lot of you are off to work or maybe even at the desk now. Just remind you, this will be live as a podcast later on today. It will be live as a podcast. All our podcasts are up there. So no matter where you listen to your podcast, whether it's on Spotify, whether it's on Apple, whether it's on Google, whatever, if you just put in the name Mark Beggs or Mark Listens To, you'll find all my podcasts with some fantastic new interviews coming up over the next week to 2 weeks with some fantastic business owners. So I'm looking forward to getting all of them up there and getting them organized for you. We've an awful lot of fantastic past videos, all on podcasts and also on our YouTube channel at Mind's Eye Education. So if you need any help with dyslexia, dyspraxia, education, and on our website, mindseyeeducation.com. We're having with StreamYard this morning. I can see it went down there for a second and now it's come back up. So I'm not sure what that is about, but I hope you're also with me. So if you have any children doing mock exams and they're struggling through their maths, their English, whatever the history, and they're reading, or you think they're dyslexic, or you know they're dyslexic or dyspraxic, and it's causing a problem and causing you a challenge, we've an awful lot of free information up there on mindseyeeducation.com, and also an awful lot of stuff on our YouTube channel at Mind's Eye Education. So we're going to call it a morning, folks, on everyone listening to us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn, because I could see the StreamYard is glitching a bit. I'm not sure why, so I don't want to get cut off midstream. I'm back here tomorrow morning, Tuesday, at 7:30 a.m. as normal. So I hope you can join me then. Where myself, Mark Beggs, talks about my experience in business over the last 30 odd years, tell you the things that haven't worked for me, and that you should not make the same mistake, and make sure you don't make those mistakes. And things that have worked for me, that if they work for you, you could do very well in business. If you have any questions, anything whatsoever, markbeggs@gmail.com. markbeggs@gmail.com. If you want to meet up for a coffee, talk about your business and how I can help your business, absolutely no problem. I'm giving a workshop this morning, so I'm looking forward to that for a new company. So that's going to keep me going all day. Looking forward to a fantastic workshop. So if you want any help or advice or training stuff, let me know. Again, markbeggs@gmail.com. Good morning, folks, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.